Since the beginning of time, celebrities or people who want to become celebrities have had to pay the price to see that success. They've had to sell their soul to the devil to actually make it to that successful peak that they tried to achieve. Today we're looking back at some of the most evil people who would make these want-to-be celebrities pay those prices and actually see the prices that they had to pay. A quick thank you to all of you who subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on tomorrow's video. Now you're not gonna believe what we're looking at here today.
Joe Rogan just pulled back the curtain on what goes on behind the scenes in Hollywood and what actors and music artists are expected to do if they want to be successful. Directors, music executives, and producers force performers to perform intimate acts and have sex with them if they want access to the biggest roles, the biggest stages, and the biggest deals. Joe even named some of the powerful figures in entertainment who use their influence to pressure or manipulate others into compromising situations in exchange for opportunities.
This is just from what I heard.
Right.
But, you know, Tarantino was telling us about this old school Hollywood producer who had a bedroom in his office.
Sure.
So you would go into his office, and this is like, you know, in the 60s or whatever. So he had his office, and then he had a whole bedroom in his studio.
Yeah.
Where he would bang all the starlets. Like, if you wanted to be a star, you had to bang that guy. Which is just the deal with the devil that has always been that business.
That's always been there. There's always been there. It's like why people start cults.
Yeah.
They always end up being cults, right? All these
100% of the time.
All of these guys on Netflix, it ends up being creepy and sexual.
Yep, all of them.
That's part of it. And I think if you have that kind of power and people, and you've got a steady stream of people walking in your door.
Yeah, and you're also doing this very specific thing where you're choosing the most beautiful people to be in these incredible films.
Right.
Now we're already getting a little sneak peek as to some of the people that we're going to be talking about today, and you'll notice that P. Diddy was a part of this, Harvey Weinstein another one, and there are many more names, some that you're probably not even expecting to see.
Child actors suffer the most in Hollywood. And the unfortunate truth is that most of the time, the parents know exactly what is happening. Hollywood is an industry that thrives on people staying quiet. Couch casting has existed for decades now. Everybody on set knows what the director or producer is doing with the performers and what the performer had to do to get cast, but no one cares.
And that's the worst thing. Thinking about how this is happening to children, how parents putting their children in this situation may have an idea, and how the people on the set all know what's going on. This is the most well-kept secret in Hollywood because when you look at the child actors, it's so sad, but so many of them have been taken advantage of on their rise to fame.
As long as they're making money, everyone stays silent.
Hollywood managers who manage kids, it's a racket, man.
Did you hear that kid from
Strange? These kids, dude.
That kid from Strange Things? Stranger Things. He just left his manager, and they're alleging abuse. They just left their agent. See if you can find that. Owen Benjamin.
The curly-haired kid. Oh, yeah. He's
Owen Benjamin just put it on his Instagram today because Owen has been taking a lot of heat online because he said that a 3-year-old kid shouldn't be transgender, and people giving him a hard time saying he's a bigot. Like, are you out of your mind? When
What's up with these transgender?
Stranger Things actor dropped agent because of accused of sexual assault. Disney star follows suit. Jesus Christ. This is nuts,
Watch
man.
an open secret, and they go through, dude, they're accusing people. It's for free, I think, on Vimeo.
Yeah,
you can watch it for free. An open secret.
Just on YouTube or something.
On Vimeo.
You know what Sturgill Simpson told me? He said the same thing exists in music.
What?
He said in music there's a bunch of pedos and pederasty music as well.
The entertainment business all the way through. Music. This was about. This is about music and movies and TV. It's about the whole entertainment business.
Women and kids.
Mostly kids.
And sometimes dudes. You know, Terry Crews said that he was attacked. Well, not attacked. Some dude grabbed his
taken from his wife.
Some famous dude grabbed his dick.
And this is why the media is shifting. Obviously, the professional music world is going nowhere. Professional television and movies are going nowhere. But when you see the rise of people that can create their own content, take this channel, for example. I have no manager. I manage myself. I live along my own guide rails. I don't have to deal with any of this nonsense. Now, of course, there is a massive difference between a content creator on YouTube and a movie star. But when you're talking about being able to be creative and have your creative mind and share your creativity with the world, this is a much easier route to do that. But I'll tell you, it is everywhere in professional fame. If there's an area where you can become famous, there are dirty people that are on that path that'll get in your way if you don't give them what they want.
A small group of directors, producers, screenwriters, and music executives hold all the power in Hollywood. And in recent years, we've seen only some of them be exposed. Harvey Weinstein, Sean Diddy Combs, R. Kelly, Woody Allen. These were all huge names in the film and music business. They probably worked with hundreds of performers. Everyone in the industry knew about the but they remained silent to protect their careers.
And if you notice right here, Woody Allen is there with Jeffrey Epstein in the same image, in the same frame. This dirty Hollywood connects directly with what happens inside of the Epstein files. They're not two different things. They are literally the same.
Allegedly, one of these elites is Oprah.
Yes.
It isn't a coincidence that somehow Oprah is friends with every abuser that has been exposed in the last 10 years.
Oprah publicly supported victims of assault in the wake of numerous allegations against Harvey Weinstein. Singer Seal Instagrammed this meme, showing Winfrey kissing the disgraced mogul. It reads, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution."
Please welcome Seal!
The 54-year-old who's appeared on Oprah's show captioned his post, "Oh, I forgot, that's right, you'd heard the rumors, but you had no idea he was actually serially assaulting young starry-eyed actresses, my bad." While Weinstein maintains his innocence, Seal hasn't commented further, and Oprah has not responded.
It's actually really nice to see that people in Hollywood, even guests of Oprah's show, are calling them out, calling her out, and calling others out in the space. It's really great to see that now this is becoming more spoken of and less hidden. I think that people in the industry are tired of this going on and are ready for it to be exposed. You're not going to believe some of the few people that we talk about next.
This moment is a really powerful time for everybody to get woke.
Fans have come to her defense, pointing out Winfrey is a survivor. They also posted pics of Seal's ex, Heidi Klum, kissing Weinstein too.
Joe Rogan talked about this too. In a recent episode with Tim Dillon, he revealed that Oprah knew Harvey Weinstein and worked with him for decades. She and almost everyone else in the film industry knew what he was doing. Allegedly, Harvey Weinstein had it in his contract that you couldn't sue him for assault. In exchange for sexual favors, you could get cast in any movie you wanted.
It's the other thing about him it's so crazy is how many photographs of famous people were with him and how many people thanked him when they won the award.
Of course.
It's so, and how it was this open secret, but it's just like they accepted this deal with the devil. Like the devil's going to make you a star if you suck. And apparently that's what he would do.
Yeah.
Whitney told me that there was girls that he knew, girls that she knew rather, that did the deal. And it was a deal. Like he's going to get you in this movie, and they and they got in the movie. Like he would hold up his end of the bargain, which is one of the reasons why he was so powerful, because he really could. He wasn't just everybody.
Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein were allegedly sourcing young performers for other elites to Epstein's island.
Throughout history, whether they were kings or what, human beings are human beings universally. So everybody is a supplier. Epstein, Weinstein, like these guys knew what these extremists liked and provided it, and provided the way for you to to have $1 billion and not create a fantasy island type environment has not existed throughout history.
Now that was Cat Williams, and we've put out a few videos of him exclusively because he's been a big whistleblower of the industry. He's blown the whistle on many different people. It's another video you should go check out if you haven't seen it already.
These elites use promises of fame, money, and at times, threats of forced child
Amanda
actors
Bynes
and young performers to do what they wanted. The one person that Joe Rogan respects in the entertainment industry is Dave Chappelle. And that's because Dave said no to money. Dave Chappelle was offered $100 million, but he said no. Oprah even asked him if he was crazy for not taking the money. But Dave told her that he knew that money would then be used to control him. After Dave said no, Oprah made fun of him. At the time, no one but Joe Rogan realized why Dave was doing this. But now, everything is becoming clear.
It was completely outside of my frame of reference. I've been in show business since I was 14, and I've heard the stories of what happens, and I've seen these kinds of things play out in front of me.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Yeah. Would you say you lost your mind, sort of?
No.
No.
Not exactly.
Okay.
I wasn't crazy, but it's incredibly stressful.
Yeah.
And I felt like in a lot of instances, I was deliberately being put through stress.
Comedian Dave Chappelle left tens of millions of dollars on the table when he walked away from his popular Comedy Central show. A lot of people wondered what the hell was he thinking, and that's a quote. Chappelle says he had, or whether he was thinking. A lot of people ask that question. Chappelle says he had a crisis of conscience and stood up for his integrity as an artist. He explained to us how stepping out of the spotlight helped him avoid getting caught in a trap.
It's so much bigger than money, though, Dave. It's so much bigger than money.
Oh, no, it was bigger than money. But you know what? I watched one of these nature shows one time, and they were talking about how a bushman finds water when it's scarce. And they do what's called a salt trap. I didn't know this. Apparently, baboons love salt.
Okay.
So they put a lump of salt in a hole, and they wait for the baboon. The baboon comes, sticks his hand in the hole, grabs the salt. Salt makes his hand bigger, and he's trapped. He can't get his hand out. Now, if he's smart, all he does is let go of the salt. Baboon doesn't want to let go of the salt. Then the bushman just comes, takes the baboon, throws him in the cage, and gives him all the salt he wants. And then the baboon gets thirsty. The bushman lets him out the cage. The first place the baboon runs to is water. Bushman follows him, and they both drink to their fill. And in that analogy, I felt like the baboon. But I was smart enough to let go of the salt.
You have to respect Dave Chappelle. He walked away from a $50 million deal, not even because things were happening to him. He didn't claim that things happened to him inside of the industry, but he saw and knew of things that did happen within the industry. And because of that, he turned down the money. This is something that most people within the industry choose not to do. So I think we should all be giving him a little bit of respect for that choice. It was the right choice and not an easy one to make.
Why did Oprah never speak out about Harvey Weinstein before his arrest? After Weinstein's arrest, Oprah knew the criticism that was coming for her, and she started trying to distance herself from the controversy. Only after she saw A-list celebrities coming under fire for their connection to Weinstein did she finally start to speak out about the situation and how much the victims mean to her.
Kind of spoken yet publicly about what's going on.
I think that this is, I'm always trying to look for the rainbow in the cloud, whatever is the silver lining. And this is what I do know for sure. When something this major happens, when you have the fallout, 50 women coming forward, that it's a watershed moment. And what I do believe is actually happening is that, first of all, it's triggering a lot of unreleased pain, repressed anger, guilt, and suffering that a lot of women have had. I happened to be on set with several actresses the other day, and we were filming some things, and they hadn't slept over a period of 2 or 3 days, and I was like, what is that? I said, oh, you guys are suffering from PTSD.
And when you start talking about it out loud, too.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And so I think this is a watershed moment. I think this is a moment where no matter what business you work in, there have been women who not only had the disease to please, that's a part of it, but who felt that in order to keep my job, in order to keep my position, in order to keep moving forward, I've got to smile, I've got to look the other way, I got to pretend he didn't say that, I got to pretend he didn't touch me. I think Those days are about to be over.
Are over. And if it happens to you back in the day, you would say, sometimes you're not even aware what he just said wasn't really inappropriate.
I know you've had a couple moments.
Where you just think, what did he just say?
Yes, I remember Gail had a moment when she came and said to me what somebody said that was so inappropriate. I was like, oh my God, you can sue over that. But
no, and all I said was, what did you say? And then they repeated it.
Yes. It's terrible.
I just sat there typing with my 20-something-year-old.
You pretend you didn't hear it.
Yes.
You pretend it's okay. You pretend you didn't.
No, it isn't. You're right, Jeff. It absolutely, you're absolutely right.
But a lot of women have been silenced, and I know.
But I do think it's going to change.
Being a victim of that, when you feel like you cannot be heard, and then other people start speaking out, it makes you feel like, oh, now I can speak out too.
Yeah.
So,
and you've been speaking about it for
years.
Now, Oprah's saying some good things. She's saying the right things right here, but this is also her trying to save face. And I have a question for you, actually. You watching right here. Do you think that she knew of all of these things that were going on with Harvey Weinstein and more throughout the years of her career, where she not only was friends with these people, but also promoted them and their services and brought many young women that were looking for fame to them, handed them to Harvey Weinstein and others so that they can make their way to fame? Do you think she's guilty? Do you think she knew what was going on? And do you think she's ever going to have to pay the price as well?
There's so many horrific accusations, though, involving young singers, like children.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
It's insane.
He makes R. Kelly look like a decent guy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
It is crazy. And meanwhile, the guy was like hanging out with Oprah, hanging out with Obama.
Jay-Z.
Everybody.
As for what this group of elites was actually doing at Epstein's Island, I'll let Roger Avery, director, producer, and Academy Award-winning screenwriter known for Pulp Fiction, answer that question.
They're eating man. Like that's
Do you think so that you think is real? So
well, yeah. Not only that, I think that there's sacrifices going on every day in Los Angeles. I mean, allegedly, like high-level musicians, let's say, high-level female musician is like chickens every day doing sacrifices, like
high level.
Well, I don't want to say. I don't want to say names because I don't want to get sued, and I don't want to be either.
What is it, Ron?
Joe Rogan later revealed that these Hollywood elites treat you like you're beneath them.
There is an arrogance that some stars had, like particularly in the 90s. When I first came to Hollywood, and this was like really evident for me because I was not a star, but I was on a television show. So I got to be around a lot of stars. And there was a way that some of them would treat you. They would let you know that you are subhuman. You are below them. They would communicate with you in the most disrespectful and dismissive ways, like weird, like mousy guys that I could like instantly, and they would just be rude to you in a really weird way because they had power. And then when an executive would come over, they would turn on the charm. They'd be smiling and laughing, and then you would talk to them at the craft service, and they would dismiss you in the shittiest ways. I encountered a bunch of that.
Yeah.
It was commonplace, and it was, I think, a thing that they aspired to.
This might sound crazy, but what's even crazier is how veteran actors like Jim Carrey have been saying the same thing for years. Jim Carrey even named multiple comedians who were part of this circle of elites. He said this on live TV. Back in 2014, Jim Carrey used an overtly sexual-looking hand sign and claimed it represented the Illuminati.
Now, many people looked at this as if he was just making some type of a joke, while others, and this is one we've talked about a month and a half ago on the channel, others looked at this as him exposing Hollywood, the Illuminati, for all of the terrible things that it's done. I don't know what you think it was, but to me, I think this was not just a joke. I think there was a lot of messaging that went on behind this.
Is that a gang sign? Have you...
Oh, like you don't know what it is.
You don't know what that is.
I have no idea.
You don't know. Jimmy Fallon doesn't know. David Letterman doesn't know.
We don't know.
All the comics and show business don't know what this is. Right? Yeah.
What is it?
Come on, Jimmy. Seriously, the time is up. People are hip to this kind of stuff. I'm here tonight to blow the lid off it, to be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
He is not joking. It's coming across as a joke. He's a massive comedian. Everyone's laughing because they think it's a joke. This isn't a joke.
Around the same time, Joe Rogan spoke out about allegations and patterns of abuse and predation in the entertainment industry and how common might be among child actors and young performers. Almost a decade later, after the truth about Diddy and Harvey Weinstein came out, it was all proven to be true.
Don't let your kids get into acting. Do not let your kids get into
Has
that.
it ever worked out?
Well, you know, the other thing is, like, look at what happened with that Sandusky guy. That guy was taking care of kids. Like, his whole thing was like, hey, I do charitable work with children. You know, I do charitable work and I take care of
summer
these kids.
camp.
Yeah, I'm just all about helping kids. It's all about helping kids.
about
They're
that-
our future.
Hell
They're
yeah,
all
they're
people.
going after
that
him.
guy's entire business. Here's the thing. He's one of many. There's got to be like a bunch of people that ran their business that way.
But Weinstein, they say, like, in Hollywood, like, my agent's like, oh, no, yeah, it's about time you got caught. I'm like, what the f? Everyone knew this?
Dude,
like,
they had
everyone
it-
knew.
Did you see
Everyone
his
knew.
contract? It was in his contract. The way he had his contract set up was like they had a certain amount of money that he would have to pay if he had a harassment claim against him. It was like
It was a thing for him.
yes, like he had so many claims. That's like first offense was $100,000, second offense
Oh
was
my God.
$250,000, third offense was $750,000, fourth offense
What
was
do
$1
you mean?
million.
What?
He had it written into his contract
What
with
contract?
Miramax. His contract with the Weinstein Company, like
He
it's like,
owned Miramax, right?
I don't know. Explain that contract. Like he'd have to pay $100,000.
Yes. Okay, they're protecting themselves.
Oh, when they sign him, they go, okay, the first time with
Yeah.
one of these goods, it's
Yeah.
gonna be $100,000.
Yes.
Second time, it's
See,
200.
it's not
Holy
just. Yes, I mean it was
That's
so
how big of a problem it
yes,
was.
it was such a huge. It was so known of what he would do, and look, even Quentin Tarantino said that he did it to his ex-girlfriend.
Now, here's a connection that may go missed. Maybe you didn't notice this, but you see this image here of Harvey Weinstein and P. Diddy. Now, a lot of people say that they don't know if P. Diddy had any connections with Epstein, but we clearly know that Harvey Weinstein had connection with Epstein. So there is very little room to have to imagine that P. Diddy also did not have the same Epstein connections, and at the very least, that he didn't at least know and sometimes engage in similar circles as what went down at Epstein's Island, Epstein's properties, or even at parties that Epstein had been at. And I wouldn't be surprised if Epstein and Diddy were together more often than we even know.
All of these allegations were backed up by director Roger Avery, who went on Joe Rogan and said that everything in the Epstein files about Hollywood is real. He was actually surprised that no one was surprised and had somehow accepted it all as normal.
I think Ridley Scott knows things and Cormac McCarthy know things about the world that they put on film before everything was known. Like, I think if that movie was released today, people would be like, yeah, that's what's happening today.
Yeah.
And so, they're putting people in sulfuric acid into milk, into drums.
Yeah,
into-
what the?
And shipping them around the world, as a joke.
That's in the film?
Yeah, there's all
Well,
sorts.
did you see the thing in the Epstein files?
Oh yeah, like those,
They
those
ordered-
Epstein files. In fact, I can't believe that. Like, everybody just kind of like, oh, okay, and they're moving on with their lives. Did you see that guy at the Atlanta airport flipping out, the well-dressed black dude who just freaks out in the Atlanta just like a couple of days ago? I saw it on YouTube, and I saw it on Twitter or X, and this guy's just freaking out in the Atlanta airport. He's like, I read the Epstein files. Like, all of you, you're going about your lives like nothing's happening. Look, you're all zombies. And he's right. It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Everybody is just numb to everything. Like,
ignoring it.
This is where the conversation starts going even deeper into speculation. On an episode of the Joe Rogan Experience, longtime Rogan guest Eddie Bravo laid out a theory about the Epstein list and why it might explain why so many powerful people seemed connected to the same network. He speculates that hidden cameras, underage victims, and carefully controlled guest lists could have allowed powerful organizers to compromise influential people from industries like Hollywood, politics, finance, and even academia.
It seems so crazy to think there's not a list.
That's what Jimmy
there
said. He's a tinfoil hat guy.
There's a
conspiracy
lady
theory.
in jail for
And Jimmy would acknowledge it.
to no one. Like there's no one who's been arrested that she said to.
And that's what Aaron's saying.
Well, there's a list that's out. Who knows if it's fake? I don't know. It could be a fake list. Who knows? But
It's not.
Chris Tucker's on that list. And they asked Chris Tucker on a podcast, what's up with you being on the list? He didn't do what Jimmy Kimmel said. Jimmy Kimmel said it's a fake list. Who cares what that list says? It's fake.
Right.
Chris Tucker goes, yeah, I did go on that flight, but we went to Africa and I went with a bunch of diplomats. I didn't know who the Epstein guy was. Like Chris Tucker says, like, I had no idea. We were on this plane. We were going to Africa, do some diplomatic shit, and turns out he's a... I didn't know.
Well, they definitely got people connected to him by using famous people.
Yeah.
Because
my point was, Chris Tucker basically confirmed that the list was like legit because he's on it.
And I think that was actually smart. And for someone that's on the list that has nothing to hide, that is very smart. Why deny there's a list when you know that the list is true if you have nothing to hide? In this case, Chris Tucker is saying that, yeah, he was on those flights. We've talked about it. He was on it with President Clinton and many others. They were going to Africa to do good deeds for people over in Africa. That may be true. But on that flight, he was probably exposed to things that maybe led him to believe that something is off right here. But apparently, he didn't engage in any of that stuff. And he can openly say, yeah, the list is real. I didn't do anything wrong. And then I guess it's up to us to figure out if he actually did or if he didn't.
Finally, we've got Dave Chappelle, the one person who saw how messed up Hollywood is and walked away from it all.
Isn't it weird that that's what we think about when we think about Hollywood? We think about red carpets and people with tuxedos on and ridiculous watches and purses and all just standing there on the red carpet.
It's a tough one.
It's weird.
I mean, I don't knock, and by the way, I don't knock anybody for doing that at all. I don't think, but that ain't what we doing.
No. I'm not interested.
No, it's fun sometimes.
It's just so weird. It's so different than real life.
Investing celebrity to getting more celebrity is a treadmill I don't feel interested in running on in the twilight of my life.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you get it. You know what it's like to be famous.
Yeah. And I'm not mad at fame. When you say fame, I'm not mad at that. Celebrity, well, that's the one.
What's the difference?
It's fine. I was talking to Letterman about it. Celebrity is the role. That's the one on the red carpet. You're famous. It's not that you're not a celebrity, but it's not like you're sticking your pinky toe out on the red carpet. And you're not going places and people saying, "What are you wearing?"
Right.
You didn't make your life about that. You're not tethered to endorsements and this, that, and the other. You're tethered to yourself, to your journey, to your life, which makes it meaningful.
Now, what he's saying is there's a difference between fame and celebrity. Fame is when everyone knows you because of your work, and celebrity is when you adopt that culture and accept all of the things that are going on. And it's actually quite difficult when you think about it. Myself, you think about famous actors and actresses that you look up to. You've looked up to them and watched their movies and loved their stuff for years. And then to think that this has all been going on and we never knew it, and we looked up to these people that either were bad people or were exposed to bad people, it's eye-opening. And it makes this discussion an endless one.
Whether these stories represent isolated cases or a deeper systemic problem inside the entertainment industry is still being debated. What's clear is that more people today are willing to speak openly about the pressure, manipulation, and power dynamics that many performers say exist behind the scenes.
Now, I continue this story as I talk about Justin Bieber and Jaden Smith in another video diving into the depths of what they've had to deal with. You can find that video right here, and if you want to check out the full video that we just went through, it's linked in the description. I'll see you over here on this one.